Live and local, it's time for Fan Sports Sunday. If the weekend is a big desert for sports talk, think of this show as an oasis.
Yes, here we go.
Come drink from our pool of hot takes as you quench your thirst with. I thought I was going somewhere, but I'm not. So let's just start the show.
Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome into a fast sprint of a Fan Sports Sunday. We're going to be with you here until 1:10 today. That's when coverage of the Cincinnati Reds and San Diego Padres takes over your fan airways. Until then, you've got Ryan Baker, Dylan Tyrer, and Cam Taylor here with you. And Dylan, I am very excited for this show today. One, because we have some fun stuff to talk about, a lot of that with the Blue Jackets, and nobody better to do that with than you. But you and I have known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
This is the first time we get to really work together and do a show here on the Fan. Super pumped for that.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty crazy, isn't it, that you and I have known each other for a few years now. Our paths have crossed plenty over there at Nationwide Arena. We were supposed to do the OHSAA state hockey tournament, but I had something come up. I can't remember what it was.
I think you had Big Ten hockey tournament.
We had Big Ten hockey come into town, and I called Ohio State, Wisconsin. So, yeah, it's been a long time coming, and I'm excited for it. Like you said, it's a sprint to the finish here, a quick little hour, but we're going to get a lot of information packed in.
I remember I believe it was a Saturday, and I remember the first day I got in my car and turned on the Fan, and I heard your voice hosting, and I believe you said that was your second show. Maybe it was your first, but I think you said that was your second show. And I heard that, and I remember just texting you immediately, like, dude, when did this happen? I had no clue, and I was, like, super excited that you were joining the team. So very cool that we get to do our first show together here today. And this has been a busy weekend for you. For people that don't know, obviously, you and Bob McElligott hosted the Blue Jackets draft special that aired on the Fan here Friday night. Over 4 hours of radio for you guys. Then you and Pat Murphy did Fan Sports Saturday yesterday, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. here on the Fan, and then you're doing this today. So not a lot of rest for Dylan Tyrer this weekend.
Yeah, it's radio, man. It's fun. This is why I want to do this, right? It's why it's my profession. I love talking sports. So yeah, it's been a lot the last couple of days. My brain has been jam-packed with all sorts of different sports information. I've got everything from the Blue Jackets draft, the trades they made, everything that was going on around the sports world yesterday. We talked MLB, we talked Ohio State, and of course, big UFC fights last night, too, that I know you want to talk a little bit about today.
It was, and it's funny, the UFC got me thinking about greatness in sports and how much greatness we see right now. We'll talk about that a little later. Reds and Guardians both lose yesterday. They're both back at it today. The St. Louis Cardinals and the Guardians, they're actually first pitch coming up right about now, 12:05, so we'll give you updates on that as the day goes on. And, of course, the Padres and the Reds down at Great American Ballpark, they wrap up their three-game set today at 1:40. Of course, you'll hear that right here on the Fan. Philadelphia Union over at lower.com tonight, taking on the Columbus Crew, 6 p.m. For that. But yesterday, there was actually a couple big fights yesterday. I didn't realize Jake Paul was fighting until last night. Somebody had told me, and I was like, I feel like we've heard about those fights a little more. He was boxing Julio Cesar Chavez, and it seems like this is what's happened with Jake Paul. He boxes against boxers or former UFC guys that are kind of past their prime. I know he said he has wanted more, and listen, a lot of people don't like these because it's a young guy taking on guys that are past their prime. And I think people a lot of times discount the skill level of Jake Paul. He's got some skill. Like, what he needs to do now, and he fought Tommy Fury, and that was his one loss. What he needs to do now, and he kind of asked for it last night, and you got to get these guys to do it, right? But he needs to fight a current boxer that's maybe not a champion, but a pretty good current level boxer, so we can really test his skills, because I think some people discount him. They just think this is a circus, and maybe it is, but he's got some fast hands.
No, he does. I don't think he is a bad fighter by any means. Like, he's proven that, he can stand in there with some guys that have done it before. But I think that's the key. Have done it before, not guys that are really currently doing it. I'm not a Jake Paul guy by any means. I think it's all kind of a joke, but I get what he's doing. Like, the fight last night, he's fighting a guy that is obviously, had experience, but he's a minus 500 favorite, essentially.
Yeah.
Jake Paul was a huge favorite in that fight last night. I'm with you. And I got to thinking last night, I was watching some of those UFC results, and I'm thinking, what would happen if Jake Paul, were to fight one of these guys or somebody that's fresh out of UFC, maybe is retiring and they want one last bout, make a little money, whatever. What would that be like? I don't think it would go well for Jake Paul, but I mean, he lost to Tommy Fury, who's also kind of a wishy-washy so-so boxer, right? And that might have been a little bit of a fluky result. I know Jake Paul, he was knocked down in that fight. Maybe he slipped, whatever it was. But I'm with you. Like, I need to see him fight a real guy, and then maybe I buy in. But definitely, he's more than just an amateur fighter, for sure. He's a big guy, too. He's got fast hands. He's got power, obviously. The Mike Tyson fight, Tyson could not move around the ring, but you could see that Jake Paul has that power. So I'm with you. I think it would definitely be intriguing if he was willing to put it all on the line and get in there with an actual fighter, not a guy that's a contender really by any means, but a guy that is a competitive fighter right now. I'm in there and I'd love to watch it.
That would get me more interested than some of these fights against a Mike Tyson or a Julio Cesar Chavez, who was a champion 10 years ago, but well past his prime, had a lot of personal issues, in and out of rehab the past 5 years and whatnot. So, yeah, that would get me more excited. You put him in there against a legitimate boxer, I may check that out. And I might have checked it out last night, but I was locked into the UFC. Ilia Topuria knocking out Charles Oliveira in the first round, becoming the UFC lightweight champion, the youngest double champion in history, about 100 days older, 150 days older than Conor McGregor when he did it. I'll tell you what, Ilia Topuria, his last 3 fights, he's knocked out Alexander Volkanovski, who's probably the greatest featherweight of all time, Max Holloway, who was the greatest featherweight until Alexander Volkanovski came along, and then Charles Oliveira, who former UFC lightweight heavyweight champion. This dude, I mean, he's starting to put his name in there with the greatest UFC fighters of all time. And he's not there yet, but Khabib, George St. Pierre, John Jones, all of those guys, what he's done is super impressive.
Yeah, I was going over social media last night and kind of seeing what people were saying about the fights. And, I saw the knockout, obviously. People are talking about this guy already being an all-time great. Obviously, you'd like to see a little bit more longevity, but what? He's undefeated, right? He's 17-0 overall, 9-0 UFC.
Yeah, correct.
And a lot of his knockouts are relatively quick knockouts. You're talking first or second round KOs. I'm scared for my guy, Patty the Batty. Patty the Batty got in that ring
that's next.
Yeah, that Patty Pimblett, that's my guy in UFC that I loved. I loved Sean O'Malley. He's lost a couple times, so I'm a Patty the Batty guy. He got in that ring and he got right in Ilia's face, and they were talking. Ilia pushed him, and people are saying that could be the next fight, and that these guys actually hate each other. I think that's the way Patty's kind of been selling it, and that, hey, it doesn't take a whole lot to promote this fight for the UFC because we actively actually hate each other. I dislike this guy. He said that he wants to. Great line by Patty the Batty. He said that he did not want to end the fight quickly. If he were to fight Ilia, he would want to make him suffer, land 700 elbows, and then finish him in the final round just to make him suffer more. So, yeah, I think there's some hatred there. But listen, I love Patty the Batty. I'm a little bit scared for my guy if that happens.
Easier said than done for Patty. If that's the way they go, though, that will be, since a big-time Conor McGregor fight, the best trash talking we've ever had leading up to one with Ilia and Patty. We got to talk a little bit here before we end this first segment about Larry Johnson. I've heard for years, Dylan, that Larry Johnson was going to retire soon. If you're a defensive line prospect, don't go to Ohio State because your coach is going to leave you as soon as you get there. People were saying, he can't get it done in recruiting anymore. This was a big weekend for Larry Johnson as he gets 2 recruits on back-to-back days. On Friday, they get 4-star defensive tackle Damari Simeon, 6'3", 275-pounder from New Jersey. Then yesterday, they get a commitment from 3-star Cameron Brickell, 6'2", 305, and I kind of like that. He's from Florida. 275, obviously this guy's going to grow. And Damari Simeon, I like that defensive lineman that's going to be here at Ohio State and weigh 330 to 350, can clog up the middle there, and I think that's what you might have with Cameron Brickell. The fact of the matter, though, is Larry Johnson can still do it, and Ohio State continues to recruit at a level that is second to none.
It is nice to see them kind of filling out this 2026 class, right? They were lacking a little bit on the defensive line, and then they get the big one a couple of days ago with Simeon, 4-star. He's rated as the 200th or so best recruit in the nation for 2026. And then you get Cameron Brickell yesterday coming in, and it's just good work to shore things up. Right before that, it was just Kari Wilder on that defensive line. They didn't have any other D-line recruits. So, you've got guys like Chris Henry Jr. right at the top, Blaine Bradford right at the top, Sincere Johnson, those guys that are kind of the blue chippers for this class. But you've got to fill out the rest of the class, and obviously football games are won in the trenches. So I'm with you. I like adding a little bit of bulk in a guy like Cameron Brickell. Yeah. And these guys, he's 305 right now as a high schooler. When he gets to Ohio State, their bodies completely change. And something we were talking about yesterday, Pat Murphy and I, was that Damari Simeon, that body type, maybe allows him to play multiple positions at
Correct.
Ohio State, or they can pick where they want to kind of slot him based off of where other guys are playing or where they have recruits coming in. So that's what I'm talking about with those bodies changing too, and that you can build a guy the way you want to fit a position.
We know they get here. Body Maserati will put 15 pounds of muscle on them in no time. A lot of the recruiting experts thinking Ohio State will probably get one more defensive lineman in this class, and they're thinking interior defensive line, add to those defensive tackles. You mentioned Sincere Johnson. His teammate Jameer Perez up at Cleveland Glenville is a guy that I know they're looking at, and a guy that could fit in well here as well. So Ohio State, we know that it never stops now. It's 24/7, 365 for the football team, and the recruiting is always going on. But Ohio State, man, you think about it, with Larry Johnson and James Laurinaitis and Tim Walton and Matt Guerrieri, and then you've got Brian Hartline on the offensive side of the ball. Tyler Bowen seems to have come in and hit the ground running in recruiting. I think that may be the most impressive thing that Ryan Day has done, is an assemble and a staff that is just second to none in recruiting.
Well, you brought up Larry Johnson, and if he were to retire someday, for me, who cares? You've obviously he's a fantastic coach and has brought in great recruits, but the track record is Ryan Day is going to bring in somebody else that's unbelievable and is going to get the job done.
That is for sure. The Columbus Blue Jackets have had a big weekend. Obviously, the draft was this weekend. The Jackets have also been active in the trade front. We will break down the CBJ trades next. It's Fan Sports Sunday. Ryan Baker, Dylan Tyrer on the Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
This summertime, it's Modelo time. Whether you're poolside or curbside, kick it with an ice cold Modelo. Time to fire up the grill and turn up. Time to reach for a crisp Modelo or the refreshing lime and salt flavors of Modelo Chelada. Time to raise one to summer, and time to stock up on Modelo before summer is gone. Drink responsibly. Beer and flavored beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Make your 4th of July a good deal better at Meijer. This week, a family pack of fresh from Meijer 80% lean ground beef is $2.49 a pound. Limit 3. Large seedless watermelons are at a great low price, and Americana apparel and accessories are 50% off. Plus, save a good deal more with hot deals on Meijer brand must-haves, like Meijer chips for $1.99 a bag, and Meijer brand hamburger and hot dog buns just $1.39. Shop Meijer and bring more fresh favorites to your backyard celebration. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Hey, it's Anthony from my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin. Summer savings, Rich is backing it up. He has rates as low as 0% and leases starting from $249 a month. How about a 25 Honda HR-V LX CVT two-wheel drive? Lease it for only $259 a month. 36 months, 30,000 miles with only $30.39 down. And all trades deserve a sweetener. He's giving you an extra $1,000 for yours. See them for all the details. Germain Honda of Dublin, Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
Cheer on your Redlegs when they battle the Miami Marlins July 7th through the 10th. Don't miss another Budweiser 3-2-1 Tuesday featuring $3 beers, $2 hot dogs, and $1 ice cream cups. Plus, on Thursday, July 10th, rock out with country music act Old Dominion when they take the field for an Ohio Lottery post-game concert free to fans with a game ticket. Visit Reds.com/tickets today.
Open a money market account at Kemba Financial Credit Union and enjoy a 4.00% APY intro rate until April 2026, 6 times the national average. Maintain easy access to your funds and secure financial stability. Don't miss out. Offer expires July 31st, 2025. Visit Kemba.org. Restrictions apply. Advantage status and $5,000 minimum and $1 million maximum deposit required. APY equals annual percentage yield. Comparison based on FDIC average. Federally insured by NCUA.
Beds are us. When dreams sunk in, beds are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
Beds are us. When dreams sunk in, beds are us.
Bishop and Friends.
She was in the throes of it, or either just finished or about to commence the throes of it. Yeah, I did see it. Probably just leave it at that. I did see it.
Bishop and Friends, sponsored by Diamond Cellar.
Weekdays from 9 to noon on The Fan.
Master Grillers Unite. Their grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
One of the things I had decided when I started the company was we were going to build the best window possible. We were going to give the best service possible, and I think we've accomplished that. Our reputation is built on taking care of people and building a great window and then taking care of it afterwards. It's just a darn good window.
See for yourself. Visit RossatiWindows.com.
Road trip! This summer at Tire Discounters, your tires are your passport to savings, because you're driving to Paris,
Texas,
then it's off to Rome,
Georgia,
and you'll be kissing the Blarney Stone in Dublin,
Ohio.
Right now, save up to $494 when you buy 4 tires, and that includes a free alignment and oil change. Stop at Tire Discounters before you see the world.
I'm Bob Capace from Worthington Jewelers.
And I'm his very overpaid celebrity endorser, Common Man. Bob, I heard somewhere, actually from you many, many times, that Worthington Jewelers is where Columbus gets engaged.
It's too bad you and Timmy can't engage the audience.
Good zing, Bob.
If you're thinking of popping the question, there's only one place to go.
Worthington Jewelers on High Street in Worthington. WorthingtonJewelers.com. Tell them Common Man sent you.
The Columbus Zoo invites you to follow the footsteps and the tales of animals from around the world. Explore our newest region, North America Trek. So what are you waiting for? Get your tail to our trails only at your Columbus Zoo.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Meteorologist Aaron White with your 10 weather impact forecast here for your Sunday. We're tracking mostly sunny skies and a high of around 89 degrees this afternoon. There will be the chance for a couple pop-up storms, otherwise mostly dry here for today. We'll see a better chance of storms coming in here on Monday with highs in the mid-80s, and then looking ahead to more sunshine and drier conditions as we head into Tuesday and right on through the 4th of July holiday weekend. And that's a look at your 10 weather impact forecast here on 97.1 The Fan.
Bobby Carpenter demands that you watch Morning Juice on YouTube. If you don't, Tito will move into your house.
Live at 6 a.m. on YouTube and streaming on the Fan app.
Garnish your Bloody Mary with sports talk. You're listening to Fan Sports Sunday.
Yes, you are. Ryan Baker, Dylan Tyrer, Cam Taylor. Glad to have you along for us on this Sunday. Little sprint. It's not a marathon today. It's a sprint as we've got Reds baseball coming up this afternoon as they take on the San Diego Padres at 1:40. We will be getting off the air at 1:10 for pregame coverage of that. So we mentioned it was a busy weekend for the Blue Jackets, obviously, with the NHL draft this weekend, and then you're preparing for free agency to start on Tuesday. It's July 1st. That's when that all opens up. And things kind of started for the Blue Jackets a little bit, Dylan, on Thursday when they made a couple trades. And listen, we knew heading into this offseason, Don Waddell said as much, that he wanted to make this team better. Also, he's got a full year now in the organization. He can judge people, coaches, players, what he likes, what he doesn't like. And, you know, you always have free agents. And the Jackets have a couple UFAs now that will they re-sign them? Will they not? They're trying to figure all these things out. But we knew that once Don Waddell had a full year, he would really start to try to put his stamp on this team. And we saw that start to take shape a little bit on Thursday when you got a couple of minor trades. They send Daniil Tarasov to Florida for a 5th-round pick. Then they bring back Brendan Gaunce, and what I think is an underrated move for the organization, trading Cam Butler to the Wild for him. Let's start with those two trades there, Dylan. Obviously, the goaltending position was something that the Jackets want to shore up. Daniil Tarasov was a guy that the Jackets picked in 2017. A lot of potential, couldn't really stay healthy, seemed to fall out of favor with Dean Evison this year as we saw them go to Jet Greaves down the stretch, and he really relied on Elvis before that, a guy that was that needed a qualifying offer. You weren't sure if they were going to give it to him or not. You ship him off to Florida for a 4th-round pick, and he gets to go play with one of his mentors in Bob.
Yeah, I think it's just a shrewd piece of business by Don Waddell and the Blue Jackets. It's a minor trade, but it's a smart trade, right? Daniil Tarasov wasn't necessarily in the picture for the Blue Jackets going forward. I think it's very clear. Elvis Merzlikins is under contract, and Jet Greaves really earned an opportunity last year. Not only did he do that, but the Blue Jackets went to him in their biggest moments of need. Tarasov was still there, but they went to Jet Greaves. So there was a trust level with Jet Greaves and what he's able to give you. It's a small sample size for Jet Greaves, how much he's played in the NHL, 20 or so starts, but in those games, he's given the Blue Jackets a fighting chance every time he's started. It's just something about him, right? You've seen him play before. I've watched him play a good deal now. He just fights. Like, he's a battler. I can't describe it any other way than that. He's an undersized goalie. He looks small in net, but he fights, he battles, and he came up huge for the Blue Jackets in some of their biggest moments of the season. He's earned himself the opportunity. He's on a one-way deal this next year, so he should be fighting for considerable playing time with the Blue Jackets. Like, I wouldn't consider Jet Greaves just a backup for the Blue Jackets next year. He's going to challenge Elvis Merzlikins or whoever it is for more and more playing time. I think he showed that last season. So a nice bit of business to get something for a guy that wasn't in the cards next year in terms of Daniil Tarasov. On top of that, great story in Florida. He and Sergei Bobrovsky, both from the same town in Russia. I believe Sergei Bobrovsky's favorite player growing up was Daniil Tarasov's father, and Daniil Tarasov's favorite player growing up was Sergei Bobrovsky. So pretty cool to get those guys together there. You got something?
Well, I was just going to say, and then also in Florida, Billy Zito was part of the front office here that drafted Daniil Tarasov, so he knows Daniil Tarasov well. It's a guy that he thinks they can come in with Bob. You got Roberto Luongo down there as well. They think that they could get the most from him. And listen, I would not be surprised if Daniil Tarasov goes to Florida and he resurrects his career a little bit, and he plays well for them. Now, that's not saying that the Jackets gave up on... I never understand. I get it when a player leaves and they do well, but if he's not doing well for you for whatever reason, it's not helping you having him. So if you let them go somewhere and they flourish, good for them. For whatever reason, it just wasn't the place for him.
Yeah, exactly. And for Daniil, he's got the tools. He's a big guy. He's athletic. He's a great guy. Like, I've always really enjoyed talking with Daniil Tarasov. Just a humble guy, quiet, and a good person. So I'm rooting for him in Florida, right? It's a good situation. He's going to get to play behind the two-time defending Stanley Cup champions. And, you know, like I said, the package is all there for him. He's in a good situation with Roberto Luongo. Like you said, they've got like a goaltending department of excellence or something they call it down there. So I'm happy for him, and I hope, you said resurrect his career. I don't even know if his career is like truly started yet, like get it off the ground, like really, really go somewhere. So I'm happy for Daniil. And like you said, the other deal, Cameron Butler, he's an AHL forward. Brendan Gaunce is kind of a tweener guy that if you have injuries, he can come up and play for you in your bottom six. He's done that for the Blue Jackets before. And if he's playing in Cleveland, he's going to be, a true leader for that team and somebody that's going to help shepherd these younger players along. So just another smart deal for the Blue Jackets to get a guy like that, add some depth and add some experience in the minor leagues.
Yeah, he's a guy that probably he has before and probably will again wear the C down in Cleveland. And I got to be honest with you, Brendan Gaunce is a fixture on your fourth line. I don't think that's a bad thing either. He's a guy that can come up here and play on a fourth line and play well.
Yeah, he's a big guy, big body. There is some offense to his game, and he's done that for the Blue Jackets, right? We saw him come up a couple of years ago and, play some considerable hockey with this team and fit in pretty nicely. He can play center, he can play on the wing, so just a nice piece to have for a team that you can move him up and down a lineup at either the NHL or the American Hockey League.
And then kind of buried the lead. The big move yesterday before the draft, the Blue Jackets make a trade with the Colorado Avalanche. They bring in Charlie Coyle and Miles Wood. They send out a second-round pick in 2027, a third-round pick in this year's draft, and Gavin Brindley, a guy they drafted last year in the second round. I like this move for the Blue Jackets for a couple of reasons, but the first one, this makes the Blue Jackets bigger and tougher to play against this season. Charlie Coyle's a guy you can play at center or on the wing. He can move up and down your lineup a little bit. He's a guy that's been a winner in Boston and Colorado. And then Miles Wood, this is a guy when he came up with New Jersey, I really, really liked. He's a guy that skates like the wind. He'll hit everything that's moving, not afraid to drop the gloves. And in New Jersey, at least, he would chip in 10 or 15 goals a year. He kind of lost that in Colorado for some reason, but the Jackets hoping to bring that back. I got excited, and I think I put a tweet out after this trade. I can't imagine seeing a line with Miles Wood and Matthew Olivier on it. Like, the other teams are going to have their head on a swivel.
You're right about that. And for me, this trade really legitimizes the Blue Jackets' bottom six. Like, the last couple of years, it's been a little bit more piecemeal, and that is because there were some injuries. There were guys coming up from the American Hockey League. Like, remember this past season, Mikhail Putia was down there for a while. Justin Danforth has been in and out of that bottom six due to injury. But I think this really legitimizes what you're trying to do. Like, Charlie Coyle's kind of a swing forward. Like, he can play up and down a lineup, down the middle, on the wing. He is what he is. He's a solid player at everything. He's not a superstar by any means, but when you ask anybody, he's just good at everything, right? He's going to chip in 15 to 20 goals a season, 40 to 50 points a season. He's going to play responsible defensively. He can kill penalties. Heck, if you need him to play on the power play, he can probably do that too. And you said it. He's got size, 6'3", 215 pounds. He has not missed the playoffs in his NHL career. He's going to get to, if he plays 50 games this year, he's going to get to 1,000 games. So a guy that's played 1,000 games in the National Hockey League, there's a reason he's done that. He's been around the block. He's been successful at a lot of stops. He's a great guy. Both of these guys, by all accounts, are great guys. I've got some connections with the Colorado Avalanche who say that both of these guys are tremendous people. So I'm excited to add them to the mix. I'm excited to meet them. And as far as it goes with Miles Wood, I'll echo everything that you said about him. He showed an offensive ability when he was with the New Jersey Devils. He's had a couple of down years in Colorado, playing maybe a little bit different of a role. There's some firepower, considerable firepower with the Colorado Avalanche, but Miles Wood scored 19 goals a few years ago. Tremendously fast skater. He's going to push the pace, which is what I think the Blue Jackets want, and I'm with you. He and Matthew Olivier throwing the body around a little bit. That could be a lot of fun, depending on who's playing in the middle, too.
That'll be, that'll be fun, and maybe some fireworks at Nationwide Arena with those two if they end up playing on the same line. Listen, Don Waddell had said one of the things they wanted to do was get a right-handed centerman. That's what Charlie Coyle is. Last year, the only guy they had taking faceoffs from the right side was Justin Danforth. He's a UFA. Don't know if he's going to be back or not. So you solve that with Charlie Coyle, maybe even a little better in the faceoff dot than Danforth as well. So you combine that with Boone Jenner's ability to take faceoff, Sean Monahan, how good he is in the circle. The Jackets will be a team that hopefully starts with the puck a lot next season. Now we got to get to the draft. The first round Friday night, rounds 2 through 7 yesterday. We'll let you know who the Jackets took coming up next. 2 minutes on Fan Sports Sunday.
Get Eco.
ECO. Hey, Jerry, I think I invented something. Does it solve a problem? It solves a big problem.
Get Eco.
ECO. Heating and cooling companies are telling people your furnace and AC isn't worth fixing. You need to replace it with a whole new system.
You invented a solution for that?
I invented a way to fix those systems for free.
Get Eco.
ECO.
That's a great invention. How does it work?
Step 1 is to pay Eco to fix it.
I thought you said you'd fix it for free.
Step 2 is that we give you back all the money that you paid us, up to $1,500 when you get Eco to replace it.
Get Eco.
ECO.
What if your repair keeps my system running for several more years?
That would mean you got all those extra years for free.
Paying Eco to fix your AC system is like putting money in the bank.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO. Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary. Matty Ice is currently bathing himself in creamy jalapeno dip. And I've officially run out of ways to tease this show. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan. Live, local, and still slightly drunk.
I'm not drunk, all right? I just have a speech impediment.
This is Fan Sports Sunday.
Welcome back in, Fan Sports Sunday. Ryan Baker, Dylan Tyrer with you. Cam Taylor pushing the buttons on the other side of the glass. We're glad to have you along with us here for about the next 40 minutes. A big weekend for the Columbus Blue Jackets as they have the draft this week. Free agency gets underway on Tuesday. So not just a big weekend, really a big week here for the Jackets as well. We broke down some of their trades, and you and I were talking in the 2-minute break there. Some people were a little bit down on the Colorado trade for the Jackets because they feel like the Jackets gave up a lot in eating all of that salary. But we know with $40 million in cap space before that deal, salary wasn't an issue for the Jackets this year. And Charlie Coyle's only signed for 1 more year. And I don't think $5.25 million for Coyle was that bad. It seemed like it was the Miles Wood part of this, but I'm really excited for Miles Wood, and I know the past couple of years in Colorado weren't great for him, and you had mentioned he was hurt a little bit last year. But when I remember watching him in New Jersey, that was a guy that I was like, man, I would love to have on my team.
Well, there's something about Don Waddell, too. If you look back at some of the history for him in Carolina, you know, they year after year, they would find these bottom 6 pieces that would fit in and just contribute. So that's something for me that, you know, I have in the back of my mind as far as it goes with Miles Wood. Like, there is a track record there of him being a 30-point player that puts up 75 penalty minutes a season. That sounds great to me. He's making $2.5 million a year for the next 4 years. That's nothing crazy with the cap going up, and it's going to continue to go up. So I like Miles Wood for the Blue Jackets. I'm excited to see how he fits, and I can't really remember the last time that you had a guy with so much pace, really, like as a fourth-line player for the Blue Jackets. I think when you think fourth line, It's big bodies, physical, slower skaters, but he's that guy that is very, very fast, tremendous skater, great speed, and he's going to be pushing the pace. And, Matthew Olivier likes to do that too, get in on the forecheck. So that fourth line, depending on who's going to play in the middle at the center ice position, could be very fun to watch and very difficult on the forecheck. And it just goes back to what I was saying in legitimizing that bottom six for the Blue Jackets.
And you've got to get there first, but both of those guys are playoff type hockey guys in Coyle and Wood, with the big body, good on the forecheck, greasy goals, greasy type players. Both of those guys are that kind of player. So the Jackets go into the draft, and I got to be honest, Dylan, on Friday, while we were here doing Bishop and Friends, Dave Biddle and I was refreshing Twitter every minute, looking to see, are they in? And then you see Noah Dobson. You're seeing the three teams that could be involved are the Blues, the Blue Jackets, and the Canadians. And then you hear it's down to the Blue Jackets and the Canadians, and you're starting to get excited. And Noah Dobson is a great player. That's a lot of money to give to him at $9.5 million a year. I wasn't so sure Noah Dobson was the guy that I wanted heading into this, but it's just exciting to have the Blue Jackets involved in that. And that's why I think, and this is nothing against the players the Blue Jackets drafted with their 2 first-round picks at 14 and 20, because I actually really like both of the players they picked. It was one of those things where if you told me the Blue Jackets made one pick Friday night, I would have been surprised. The fact that they made both of those picks, I was flabbergasted. I thought for sure at least one of those picks was gone in some kind of trade.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I thought going into the draft, the Blue Jackets would move at least one of them. It looked like as the day went on and that Noah Dobson stuff started to become real, they could potentially be moving both of their first-round picks. But I think the lack of activity around the rest of the NHL kind of showed you that there wasn't a whole lot out there. Like Noah Dobson was really the only major move going into the draft that day. Great player. It's kind of crazy to me that the Islanders kind of let him walk because he's 25 years old, had 70 points 2 years ago from the blue line. He's a good player, and I would have liked the Blue Jackets to have gotten that guy, but Don Waddell said it, the price just got a little bit steep when it came down to it. So the Blue Jackets will try to address their needs on the blue line in a different way, but it was exciting to have the Blue Jackets in that conversation. That's what we like this time of year, right? Is the Blue Jackets to be in the conversation, moves to be made around the NHL, whatever sport it is. You like this part of year because you're hot stoving with your buddies and you're thinking about, oh, what's this guy going to look like on this team or another guy? How is he going to fit with a different squad? So that's what's fun this time of year, but there just wasn't a whole lot there for the Blue Jackets, I think. And even during the draft, this year was a little bit different, decentralized. The scouts and the general managers, everybody that's essentially in your war room was back at home. They weren't on the floor like they typically are, sitting at a table next to the other 31 teams in the NHL. So Don Waddell said that maybe played a factor in the lack of activity, too, that guys weren't right there to be able to talk about a deal. And we didn't really see players for picks or player for player during the draft. It was mostly picks for picks. So a lot of different factors this year. And, one of the other things that Bob McElligott and I talked about during the draft was just think about the state of the NHL. There's so much parity. There are not many teams that are trying to rebuild right now. There are not many teams that are saying, okay, we're going to sell off this guy for picks or prospects. So many teams are trying to go for it. All of the teams that were in the playoffs this past year want to be back in the playoffs and have a chance to win the Stanley Cup. All of the teams that missed the playoffs are kind of in the same spot as the Blue Jackets, ready to take that next step. Chicago wants to get better. Anaheim wants to get better. Seattle, I don't think, wants to take a step back. Teams like that where nobody really wants to trade their good guys, right? So it's a hard time to make a deal. We'll see if that changes in the next couple of days. And, of course, you've got free agency opening on Tuesday, and I think the Blue Jackets would like to be active there, too.
And with the salary cap going up $14 million this year from 81 to 95, that means teams have more space to re-sign their guys. So, yeah, maybe a little difficult on the trades. The Jackets' first 2 picks in that first round, Jackson Smith, a left-handed defenseman, 6'4", 200-pounder. Sounds like he is a very good skater, especially for a guy his size, can chip in offensively. And then Pyotr Andrianov, goaltender from Russia, 6'2", 207. Some people thought that the Jackets kind of reached here for him. But if that's the guy that you want and that's the best goalie you have on the board and you know you're going to take him, and you remember, too, you don't have a second-round pick, you got to get the guy when you can. I think it's interesting. I've read a lot on him, and it says he's 6'2". A lot of the guys say he's 6 foot. I don't know where the discrepancy is here, but I've never understand that with goaltender. I don't think you've got to be 6'5" to play goalie. If you can, if you have the smarts and the glove and the quickness, and that doesn't bother me. I don't care how big you are as long as you stop the puck.
Yeah, you just have to be a tremendous athlete, which is exactly what Andrianov is billed as, an exceptional athlete who's a battler. It sounds a lot like Jet Greaves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, we talked to Nick Backstrom, the Blue Jackets goaltending coach, after the draft, and he said that Andrianov reminds them a lot of Sergei Bobrovsky. So pretty good company right there. Pretty good comparison. So I'm excited about Andrianov. And as far as a reach goes, who cares when it comes to goaltenders? Who cares when it comes to these Russian prospects? You have your guys slotted where you have them. And Don Waddell spoke after the draft and said each of the Blue Jackets' first 3 picks was in their top 14. Jackson Smith, Andrianov, and Malte Voss, who they drafted 76th overall in the 3rd round, a physical defenseman from Sweden, 6'2", 185. They had him in their top 15 as well. So pretty nice to come away with something you feel good about, in that your first 3 picks are all guys you had slotted in your top 15, 20 players. I don't think a lot of teams can say that. The Blue Jackets certainly are saying that this year. So you've got to like what they were able to do. And guys are projects, right? Goaltenders specifically. They take time. It's not like the NFL draft, and that's what goes back to that trade with Colorado. People are like, oh, you gave up draft capital. It's not like the NFL draft where you're finding an impact starter in the 2nd or 3rd round right away. These guys take time. So I like what the Blue Jackets were able to do.
And the nice thing, well, maybe not the nice thing, but with Andrianov, he's under contract in the KHL for 5 more seasons. So he's not going to be here for a while. You can get him. He can learn over there. He can grow as a player over there, and that will be nice. Then the Jackets take Owen Griffin, a center in the 5th round, 5'10", 172-pounder. Victor, I'm going to let you do the rest of this here because I'm not sure if I can get this one right.
I'm going with Victor Hedden Raftheim here, a defenseman, big defenseman out of Sweden, 6'4", 190, and then Jeremy Larange, the MVP of the BCHL, undersized player but a lot of skill.
I like that, Larange. One thing that we've noticed here with Don Waddell and his track record is he usually likes size. And those 2 forwards there, we'll get into them a little bit more and what Don Waddell had to say about some of these guys in the next segment. But if you look at the draft Don Waddell had last year and this year, one thing he likes is big blue liners, because the Blue Jackets have drafted a bunch of blue liners the last 2 years that are 6'4", 6'5", 6'3", all in those range. So Don Waddell does have a type, and he likes the bigger-bodied guys.
I think you can say that. It's not just him, though. The entire NHL is in love with big defensemen. Not a single defenseman under 6 foot was drafted this year.
Wow.
Absolutely incredible. You go back the past 10 years or so, I saw a graphic online. You'd get upwards of 10, 15, 20 guys under 6 feet drafted, defensemen I'm talking about. This year, there were none of them. You see what the Florida Panthers have done. They've got a big blue line. The playoffs are physical. Everybody's seeing how physical the playoffs are. You need big defensemen to compete, and I think that's why you're seeing this trend.
What did Don Waddell think of the draft? We will let you hear what he had to say coming up next. Ryan Baker, Dylan Tyrer, Fan Sports Sunday on The Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
The champs are back. Ohio State football returns to the Shoe this fall with powerhouse matchups against Texas, Penn State, and more. Your Buckeye Saturdays begin at ohiostatebuckeyes.com, where you can grab single game tickets that are on sale now. Gear up and get ready for game day.
Earn $200 when you spend $2,000 in the first 90 days with a new Visa from Kemba Financial Credit Union. Plus, pay 0% APR on balances transferred in the first 90 days for 15 months. Visit Kemba.org. Restrictions apply. APR equals annual percentage rate. Offer ends June 30th, 2025. Equal opportunity lender.
Cheer on your Redlegs when they battle the Miami Marlins July 7th through the 10th. Don't miss another Budweiser 3-2-1 Tuesday featuring $3 beers, $2 hot dogs, and $1 ice cream cups. Plus, on Thursday, July 10th, rock out with country music act Old Dominion when they take the field for an Ohio Lottery post-game concert free to fans with a game ticket. Visit Reds.com/tickets today.
He shoots, he scores! No matter your sport, it's a great time of year to be a fan. But the fun stops when you or a loved one can't control your gambling. At Maryhaven, we're here to help. Whether it's gambling, drugs, alcohol, or mental health, you don't have to go it alone. With in-person, virtual, and group options, Maryhaven meets you where you are. Always judgment-free. Go to maryhaven.com today. That's maryhaven.com.
I can't wait to meet her. Oh my gosh.
Put your hands together for new Dr. Pepper Blackberry and Dr. Pepper Blackberry Zero Sugar.
There she is! Woohoo! Yeah! It's full Dr. Pepper!
With sweet blackberry flavor!
Dr. Pepper Blackberry, I'm obsessed with your succulent taste. Please marry me!
No! Marry me! Marry me, or I'm gonna freak out!
Try new Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
It's a pepper thing!
When you join the plus side with AAA, that's all you'll have to do. Or you could learn to change your own tire.
Hey fam, what's up? Today I'm gonna teach you to change a flat. Before we start, make sure it's not raining, or hailing, or lightning.
You can have AAA find you the right insurance policy, or you can shop for your own.
Hello?
I'm with Mega Insure. You requested a quote?
Yes, 3 months ago.
You could have our travel advisors plan your dream vacation, or book your own travel.
Woo! Panama City Beach! Spring break!
I thought you said we were going to Panama.
Wait, there's a difference?
Skip the hard work. On the plus side, get more with AAA. Go to AAA.com/plus side.
Austin and Berm are back with a new daily podcast, the ultimate OSU Football Insiders. You know it's refreshing to have some smart people working here from time to time.
The Beat with Austin and Berm on the 10 TV Plus app.
Subscribe today.
Hey, it's Anthony for my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin. Summer savings, Rich is backing it up. He has rates as low as 0% and leases starting from $249 a month. How about a 25 Honda HR-V LX CVT two-wheel drive? Lease it for only $259 a month. 36 months, 30,000 miles with only $30.39 down. And all trades deserve a sweetener. He's giving you an extra $1,000 for yours. See them for all the details. Germain Honda of Dublin, Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. Spring weather has arrived, and we all know what that brings. Warmer weather and severe storms. Well, when bad weather hits, we all know it can cause leaky roofs or even damage to your siding and gutters. The Roofing Guys are your local experts in roofing, siding, and gutters and more, providing top quality through every roof, every time. So it's just a small repair, full replacement, or even peace of mind. You need to contact my guys, the Roofing Guys, 614-626-7000, or visit them at theroofingguys.com. That's theroofingguys.com.
Do you suffer from leg pain, leg swelling, varicose veins, or leg ulcers? Dr. Barry Zeta and Dr. Joseph Senta at Ohio Vein and Vascular Polaris are pioneers in the vein and vascular field. Dr. Zeta and Dr. Senta can perform minimally invasive procedures that will get you back on track to a pain-free life. Stop living with leg pain and start the process to healthy living with a free healthy leg screening. Go to loveyourveins.com or call 614-426-VEIN. That's 614-426-VEIN or loveyourveins.com.
For the past 100 years, Shriners Children's has become family to over 1.5 million kids.
In tough times and good times, they're there when we need them most.
Please go online right now to loveshriners.org.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Carpenter Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep your home comfortable. The Fan.
During weekend programming, pants are optional.
Look at my butt!
However, leather chairs may have been a bad choice. You're listening to Fan Sports Sunday.
Yes, you are. We're taking you up until 1:10 today. That's when the Cincinnati Reds and the San Diego Padres will take over. That pregame starts at 1:10. First pitch is at 1:40 down at Great American Ballpark. Ryan Baker, Dylan Tyrer here with you. We've been talking a lot about the Blue Jackets and the draft and the trades that they made this weekend. I want to let you guys hear from Don Waddell a little bit. And let's go first to this would have been him on Friday, just before the draft, talking about the trade with the Avalanche where the Jackets bring in Charlie Coyle and Miles Wood.
Well, first, we've been looking for a right shot, whether center or right wing, somebody that can win faceouts on the right side. You know, we're naturally all left-handed with Monahan, Fantilli, Sillinger, and last year with Sean. So it was started the summer off saying we need to address this. We were not good from the face-off dots from the right side. So, and then Miles Wood brings energy to our team. You know, he can play bottom six positions, either third, fourth line, plays hard. He's one of the guys that skates really well and gets in on the forecheck. So, you know, these type of players, you need them up and down the lineup, and we thought this is just a good fit and price that we're willing to pay.
And Dylan, a lot of the things that we talked about, the one thing that you can't argue with, I don't think, is after this trade, the Jackets are a tougher team, a harder team to play against.
That's all you can ask for, right? You wanted to get better, and the Blue Jackets were able to accomplish that. You'd like to see them continue to get better in the next couple of days, whether it's via trade or free agency, but it's a great first step. That was something the Blue Jackets were going to have to do regardless, solidify that bottom six, because they do have some UFAs in there. So they were able to do that and getting two quality players from Colorado. I'm on board.
And you didn't have to give up one of those first picks.
Yep.
You didn't have to give up a top prospect. I mean, Gavin Brindley is a guy that was drafted in the second round, but I don't think he's a top three prospect for the Jackets right now. You know, this might have been a little harder. And again, Gavin Brindley, wish the best to him. Hopefully he turns into a great player in the NHL. He's a smaller, more skilled guy, tough guy to play against, but especially his size, it's a smaller guy. And I think if you would have heard, just because you've seen it, if you would have heard the Jackets had to give up Luca Del Bel Belluz in this trade, I think that would have been a lot harder for Blue Jackets fans.
Yeah, maybe so. And Luca Del Bel Belluz plays he plays a more important position, I would say, center ice, where Gavin Brindley's a winger. I think it also helps in that we've seen Luca Del Bel Belluz in the NHL have a little bit of success. Gavin Brindley, definitely a quality prospect, and it's a nice ad for the Colorado Avalanche. But, you know, you look at the fit right now for the Blue Jackets, where is he going to find himself? You have Kirill Marchenko. He's a younger guy that's now an established top six winger in the NHL. Kent Johnson certainly looks like the exact same thing. Igor Chinikov is still in the mix. You have Boone Jenner on the roster, et cetera, and they've talked about wanting to add an impact top six winger this offseason. So I'm not quite sure where the fit would be for Gavin Brindley. He needs more time in the American Hockey League, too. He was a rookie in the AHL last year. He was hurt at points last year, so just needed more time. I'm not upset with the deal whatsoever.
And then this is something you mentioned, Don Waddell, saying earlier, that the guys that they drafted with their first three picks in this draft were all in the top 14 on their draft board.
Yeah, our list, we drafted right identically how our list was laid out. The three first guys that we took were all in our top 14 on our list. So we certainly, just because it was a defenseman at the third pick, we weren't going to bypass it because of that, because we had him rated so high. So, and then after that, we took a couple of centers, I know another D, but you know, we're still with our prospects. You know, we're not overloaded at any position. We need every position. So, you know, we always say, let's draft the best player available and then work with them to make them an NHL player.
I think my follow-up question to Don Waddell after that would have been, if Voss was in your top 14, what took you so long to move up and get him, right? I mean, you draft him at 76 in the third round, and if that is truly the case, that is great value. And maybe the Jackets were trying to make moves to get up to draft Malte Voss sooner. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I would have been trying everything I could to get up into that second round to grab him before someone took him.
Well, remember, they didn't have a third round pick at this point either, so they had limited resources in terms of what they were able to do to trade up, but they did make that happen to get Malte Voss. So getting a guy that you have in your top 14 at number 76 overall, that's always got to feel good, right?
I want to get to this one just because we talked about it a little bit and we're kind of up against it, but the two forwards they picked in this draft, smaller guys, 5'10", 5'9", and Griffin and Larange. This was Don Waddell talking about what they need to see in a smaller guy to be able to draft that player.
If you're on the smaller side, 5'10", and that, you got to have hockey sense, number one. You got to be able to, you look around the NHL right now, how many 5'10" players have success, and they're all players that are very smart players. We talk about this all the time. So 5'10", 5'8", 5'9", anybody can play in this league, but it comes down to what kind of hockey sense you have. And both these players obviously have had great seasons and put up a lot of points, but they haven't done it because of lacking the hockey sense. So hockey sense, number one. There's other things, getting stronger. We don't know if they're 18. They may get taller. They may not. They can get stronger and continue to work on their body. But, skating can be taught, get better. Skating's pretty good. But the number one thing I always say is the hockey sense. You either have the toolbox or you don't. And both these guys certainly have it.
When I hear Don Waddell talking about that, it kind of reminds me of what I heard from Jake Diebler a couple of weeks ago on how they wanted to build their roster this year. And he talked about wanting to bring in guys that have a high basketball IQ because Ohio State wants to play fast. And sometimes playing fast is not just with your physical ability. Sometimes it's thinking the game fast. And if you can anticipate and be, a step ahead, you're going to play faster that way because you're always thinking. And I think that's with these guys here with the hockey sense. Like, you don't always have to be the fastest skater, but if you're thinking ahead and anticipating, it makes you quicker and better on the ice.
Well, that is the name of the game in the NHL right now, playing with speed. And like you said, it does start with the foot speed. You want to be flying up the ice with the puck, but you have to be anticipating where guys are going to be, both your teammates and defenders. So that hockey sense is a big part of it, too. You got to be able to think the game to keep up with how fast it's moving on the ice itself.
A big couple of days for the Jackets, a big week here coming up for the Jackets as well. Free agency gets underway July 1st, and then the Blue Jackets developmental camp July 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th over at Nationwide Arena. Last night, watching the UFC, it got me thinking about greatness. We will discuss that next. It's Fan Sports Sunday on The Fan.
We've been your Jackets flagship station since day one. All the goals, all the action, all the memories. Your home for the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix that's guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
You can save big on 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or 7-Up. Select varieties or buy 2, get 2 free with your card. Limit 8. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Get Eco.
ECO. Hey, Jerry, I think I invented something. Does it solve a problem? It solves a big problem.
Get Eco.
ECO. Heating and cooling companies are telling people your furnace and AC isn't worth fixing. You need to replace it with a whole new system.
You invented a solution for that?
I invented a way to fix those systems for free.
Get Eco.
ECO.
That's a great invention. How does it work?
Step 1 is to pay Eco to fix it.
I thought you said you'd fix it for free.
Step 2 is that we give you back all the money that you paid us, up to $1,500 when you get Eco to replace it.
Get Eco.
ECO.
What if your repair keeps my system running for several more years?
That would mean you got all those extra years for free.
Paying Eco to fix your AC system is like putting money in the bank.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO. Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
Trust. It's something we all value, but also something that's hard to earn, especially when it comes to your home. In a city like Columbus with so many contractors to choose from, how do you know who to trust with one of your biggest investments? At Newman Roofing, we believe trust starts with character and continues with consistent results. As a family-owned and operated company, we built our reputation on hiring good people, value-driven professionals who treat your home with the same care and respect they'd give their home. Our team is committed to delivering a true white glove experience. That means paying attention to the details, communicating clearly, and doing the job right the first time. We use only the highest quality products, installed with precision and backed by proven techniques. That's how we ensure you'll feel confident not just today, but for years to come. And we don't just ask you to take our word for it. With over 770 five-star reviews on Google, you can read story after story from homeowners just like you who trusted Newman Roofing and had their expectations exceeded. When it comes to roofing, gutters, or siding, call the local company built around family, values, and integrity. Newman Roofing. Call today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
This 4th of July, Bob's Discount Furniture is bringing back 4 for the 4th. Spotlighting 4 must-have trendsetters for $7.99 and under, like my farmhouse chic Calvin bedroom, Play-Day sectional with pop-up sleeper and hidden storage, Consumer Reports recommended treasure mattress, and my 5-star Betty dining set in 4 gorgeous colors. So stop in or visit mybobs.com and celebrate 4 for the 4th. Oh, my Bob!
Bob's Discount Furniture.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. Sports talk, weekend style. You're listening to Fan Sports Sunday.
Welcome back in, Fan Sports Sunday. Final segment. We've got to get out of here in about 10 minutes. That's because coverage of the Cincinnati Reds and San Diego Padres gets underway. But before we do, Dylan, we mentioned at the top of the show that I'm a big UFC guy. I love watching the UFC fights. I may or may have not years ago purchased a device that would allow me to watch things like that for free. So I try to catch all of the big-time pay-per-views. I'm a little disappointed because the next one is July 19th. That's Dustin Poirier's retirement fight against Max Holloway. I'm going to be on a plane flying home from Florida during the time that those start, and maybe I'll get home to see the finale. I'm not sure, but...
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
A year ago yesterday, I was at UFC 303 in Vegas. Witnessed the Alex Pereira head kick KO.
That. Yeah, that was awesome. That was so good.
Yep.
And it's surprising. As big of a UFC fan as I am, I've never actually been and seen a UFC fight in person.
There was one in Columbus a few years ago. You didn't make it to that?
Well, they used to be at Nationwide every year for the Arnold. They would come to Nationwide for that. I have been to one inside Nationwide, a big UFC fight, but it was not UFC. It was just mixed martial arts fight, I guess. But I've never been to, and I need to go to one. But I was watching last night Ilia Topuria, who knocked out Charles Oliveira. He's the lightweight champion of the world and the featherweight champion right now, the youngest to do so besides Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor was in his early 28 year. Ilia Topuria is like 28 years old in 152 days or something like that right now. So about 100 days after Conor did that. But Ilia Topuria is 9-0 in the UFC, and how this guy, what we're watching from him and the guys he has beaten, it's like we're seeing greatness. And we talked about this on Bishop and Friends a few weeks ago with how lucky I have been in my life to go from Joe Montana to Tom Brady to Patrick Mahomes in the quarterback play, just in general, that we see in the NFL right now. And also this weekend that got me thinking about it, Shohei Ohtani yesterday for the Los Angeles Dodgers pitches 2 scoreless innings, his third start back. Well, and he's ramping his way up here, but the third time he's pitched since undergoing his second Tommy John surgery, and this dude hits 102. And he's the best player on the planet now, just as a DH. And now we're throwing this pitching repertoire into it, and just such greatness that we get to see, all-time greatness all of the time right now. in sports. LeBron exercising his option with the Lakers, and he's going to play another year. And we've gotten to live through, like for me, it went from Magic and Bird to Jordan into kind of Kobe and Shaq, and then LeBron.
You got to throw Steph Curry into that mix now,
Steph Curry as well, probably, the greatest shooter of all time. So, and it got me thinking, Scotty and I were talking about this before the call-in show. There's so many of them, but if you could pick and choose to go see one athlete on the planet right now, who would that be? Because there's so many good choices. I think of Caitlin Clark. I think of Connor McDavid. I think of, if you're an F1 fan, Max Verstappen and the domination he's had. There's just so many great, great athletes right now.
All right. I'm going to go off the board, and he's not necessarily like the GOAT right now, but he's probably the GOAT. I think I might want to see Messi, like playing for FC Barcelona or something like that. I know that doesn't quite qualify as right now. I don't want to go see it. I would see him, but I don't want to go see him play for Inter Miami. I want to see him playing for FC Barcelona or playing in the World Cup or something like that, just because I think part of the reason is the environment I'd like to go see. Also, I've seen a lot of these guys play in person. Some of the GOATs, we've been very lucky that they are playing now, and there's so many ways to go see these guys. Whether it's an all-star game, going to a game, whatever it may be. All time though, I'd probably have to say like Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson. I'd love to go to a title fight and watch those guys fight.
I think an all-time Mike Tyson, has to be up there, I think, for almost anybody in a top 5, because a Mike Tyson fight was such a spectacle, and you never knew what was going to happen. And Ali, the same way, Ali may be the best promoter we've ever seen in sports to get people hyped up for his fights and whatnot. And yeah, there's so many greats right now. How cool was it to go see Ken Griffey Jr., play a baseball game? And
for me, it was Derek Jeter.
Yeah, Derek Jeter, the same thing. And it's one thing that I try to, we get so wrapped up in sports, right? And a lot of times we want perfection out of our teams, and we don't get that perfection. And the littlest thing makes us, not enjoy the moment maybe like we should. And I feel like that's a lot of times I try to sit back and think of things like that. Like with Ohio State football, we'll take it down to that. Ohio State football has gone from Woody Hayes to Earl Bruce to John Cooper to Jim Tressel to Urban Meyer to Ryan Day, and just what a run they've had. They've never had a down period like an Alabama had for a while. They've never really missed on that coach where they dropped way off. And listen, as frustrating it is to lose 4 straight to that team up north, and I get your frustration. I was angry too. Just sometimes we got to sit back and just appreciate how good we have it.
Well, I try and do that with LeBron James all the time. And it's different nowadays with social media because there are so many haters out there, right? I don't know if anybody gets any more hate than LeBron James does, right? Like this guy is still arguably the greatest basketball player of all time because, Michael Jordan, all the championships, et cetera, et cetera. Just a different mentality, right? LeBron's a little bit different than MJ, but he gets so much hate and all the time, year after year when he, re-ups, he's going to play year 23 now. Whenever that happens, I try and sit back and be like, all right, we are witnessing greatness. And, I was able to see Michael Jordan play at the tail end of his career. We're still watching LeBron compete at an extremely high level at the tail end, what feels like the tail end of his career. We don't really know that, but he's still a championship caliber player, right? We could see this guy win another NBA title. Is he going to be the guy on the team that does it? I'm not so sure about that, but he's still a contributor and a very good one at that. So that I'm glad you brought that up because that's the number one character, number one athlete that comes to mind for me when it comes to let's sit back and just appreciate what we're watching.
And it's interesting with LeBron, we talked about he exercised his $52.6 million player option this morning, and there's kind of rumors out there, Shams Charania reporting that maybe LeBron, he understands that the Lakers might be in a real rebuilding phase, and maybe possibly he's going to be looking for a trade. That LeBron hate on Twitter is going to go through the roof.
It is. Let's get him back to Cleveland. Why not?
Well, I don't know about that. Can you come home a third time?
It would be awesome. I'd be all for it. Hey, whatever the Cavs need to get over the hump. This is the year for them too, right? With the injuries in the East. So that was the first thought that came to mind for me. Hey, maybe he comes back, but I doubt it.
That would be interesting because the Cavs just traded for Lonzo Ball and LeBron kind of ushered Lonzo out of LA.
Right,
so
right.
Maybe a reunion there. Dylan, it has been a lot of fun doing this with you here for the past hour. Busy week for you. Go get some rest, my friend.
Thanks, Ryan. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate all the time you spent, all the research going into it. It was awesome.
And we heard from Don Waddell. Speaking of Don, we will have him on Bishop and Friends tomorrow at 9:30. Make sure you